Hey guys, Nivelite here, back with some more Evertale, and today I'm going to be starting a new character spotlight series where we talk about and break down a character in depth and in detail, their stats, their skills, their passives, should you summon them, when should you summon them, all of these things we'll talk about in this series. I'll be releasing these videos once a week, so if you have any suggestions on which character that you would like to go over, let me know in the comments down below. So with all that out of the way, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with Ossia. Okay, so let's talk Ossia. Overall, she's probably one of my favorite designs. She is quite lewd, so it might be off-putting for some people, but she has this thing in combat where she transforms and attacks. I think that is such a cool touch. Overall, she has a very versatile kit, so you can put her into any kind of team that you're building. However, because of her passives, which we'll go over later, you'll see that she really shines in a stun team. But don't let that deter you from picking her up, because I think overall she's a fantastic unit. So if you're looking for a new unit to add to your team but not sure which direction to go, Ossia is always a good way to go. But looking at her stats, you can see she doesn't have the highest HP, but it's not bad. She has a very high attack and a moderately high speed. You should know that she's not fast enough to be an opener, so she's not gonna have that 500 speed like Hibiki has, and she's gonna be slower than like Arya and units like that. So right around the Callan or Dark Rosette range is where she's going to fit in as far as the turn order. Her leader skill will reduce the TU cost of all storm allies, so it's basically like a haste, similar to what Callan does for fire units. So this is very strong, especially if you're using a stun team, but we'll go over more of that in a little bit. Looking at her active skills, she has Swift Strike, which is 75% damage to one enemy, Guard Destroyer, which is 500% damage to a Guardian, Combo Burst, which is 300% damage to two enemies, unlocked every time you do damage. So you can do Swift Strike or Guard Destroyer and then turn around and do a Combo Burst. Flip Stun is an interesting skill that she has, which will exchange her current HP with the amount of HP they lost, so basically she'll go back to full, and then you can pick two units to stun them for 100 TU. So this can be very powerful tide turner in the combat. So her passives are really why she shines in a stun team. Auto Time Strike, 50% bonus to attacks against units that have a current TU of 130 or more, and double that if they have 200 or more. And this is multiplicative, so it's very important for you to understand how strong this actually is. If they have TU of 130 or more, let's say that she was going to do 1,000 damage. Now she does 1,500. If they're at 1,000, if they're at 200 TU, now she does double damage, right? So this obviously can get pretty broken, pretty busted, like fast. So she can hit like a truck. She also has Hold Ground Plus, which can make her very, very annoying to deal with if the other player has like a Mirai or a Callan or some other healer, because basically you effectively have to kill her twice. Because this is superior to Hold Ground, basically she won't die until her next active turn. Yeah, so she can be very annoying to deal with. The rest of her passives are pretty standard. She's going to get attack up, she's going to get HP, she's going to get a little bit of sleep resistance, which, let's be honest, not going to matter, because if somebody sleeps you, they're going to turn around and kill you anyway, so it's not going to matter. And her mastery skill is Sword, which is nice because swords have a lot of options for you to pick and choose which kind of weapon that you want to use. I'm not really going to go over her profile parts too much. I'm just going to pause over them real quick. So if you want to pause and read the descriptions or look at the art or whatever, we're just going to go through here. I'm not really going to talk about it. Moving on to her weapon. Her weapon's pretty interesting because it works very, very well with crisis teams, because it will reduce the damage from enemy attacks as long as your allies have 2 or less spirit. So if you can pick up her weapon, she works very well with not only stun teams but also with crisis teams. So this makes her a scary option. Obviously you can put this weapon on any other character that can wield this type. This makes her banner when it comes around even more attractive, because not only is the unit strong, her weapon is very interesting as well, because there's a lot of crisis teams out there and there's a lot of stun teams out there, right? So this will work really well for those type of teams. Now, whether you should summon her or not is gonna largely depend on you and what you want to do. However, some general guidelines are, if you're building a stun team, she fits in really well. Overall, if you don't have a specific idea of what you're doing, she's never a bad idea to pick up. But you are going to want to skip her if you're still building a niche setup. So if you're building a more if you're building a more like poison oriented or overdrive oriented team, you're probably going to want to skip her if you're running stealth or anything like that. So just keep in mind on what kind of units that you're wanting to build for your specific teams, and then use that information to whether you want to pick her up or not. So my final thoughts on Ossia is, I think she's a very strong unit. She's a pretty safe bet for just about anybody out there, whether you're starting up or if you're an established player and you just don't have her yet for some reason. I think you can't really go wrong with getting her, because at the end of the day, you will always have somewhere to put her. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have any more to add to the video or have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comments down below and I'll be happy to assist in any way that I can. If you found the video helpful and want to see more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.